We're fabricated by, like, our parents and the things that we want for ourselves, and then like how we act within society. But then the fact is that whether it's hardwired or soft-wired, it can all actually organically change if we need it to. I am a graduate student at the University of Arizona, working towards my MFA in studio art. My work consists of methods or techniques like drawing, sewing, painting sometimes. I'm often working on like 20 to sometimes even 30 or 40 pieces at the same time. I'll have other works pinned up on the wall and I look over and I think, oh, that line, that little moment, that rock pile or that like well space or the place of winnowing kind of needs to go into this space over here. And then I'll do like a blind contour drawing so it's a much more gestural moment or just like a trace.
Me and Athena have had a great working relationship, bouncing ideas off of each other because we do work so differently materially, but our subject matter is actually very similar. Whenever we're stuck, we can kind of feed off ideas and just be inspired by the work that we're making and just pop into each other's studio.
I like to say I want to know what all of the rules are so that I know which ones I'm breaking. I really see that attuned to things like other formats like poetry or jazz. When it comes to reading the work, like sometimes there's like symbols or moments of like a gestural style of drawing a home with a fence or like an aerial view of archaeology that then you notice in one piece and you turn around and you see, oh, that's there in the other one, but it's established or composed differently.
Her work just has a profound connection to the material, and it really does breathe new life into the material. And then it just, by doing that, kind of relates to her broader research of both the urban landscape and re-imprinting and giving these clothing and objects that have such a rich history a second chance to provide a new narrative for us.
I do see my work like as a sort of psychological excavation where I'm like excavating the history of like my own psychology and my own past along with, you know, excavating the materials themselves and their own history. I do specifically use a machine because like it does have this sound and this heaviness to the actual way of creating through the machine, you know, that I think also talks about like the system of society. And like we know that there is like a machine that's sort of this system that causes people to continue to behave in a certain way even if they know it's not actually working.
One thing that I also find in Athena's work is that the material tends to reach out towards the viewer, almost just bringing you in with these threads, whether it be through sewing machines or through dipped wax. I think these objects have an ability to bring you closer, whether or not you're doing it intentionally. They just kind of draw you in.
I am working with like social landscapes and people's psychological relationships within the social landscape in order to create a place or a space. Because sometimes I'm working in sculpture, so I'm creating these installations where people would then be able to reflect within a landscape alongside of each other. We're really complex beings, so like all of our history that we have in our lives, like we take with us where we go. And I think it's important to like acknowledge that if you and I are only sharing like a half hour together, that there's a whole lot more to you than that little exchange that we had. That's something that like I'm trying to bring within the title, and then also like the materials and how the materials are constructed in my work. So they're generally like fabricated by me together, but so are all of us. If our life isn't working for us, if the way that we're behaving around others or for ourself is not working for us, then we can go through sometimes a very long process, but we can go through the process of affecting change in order to become better.
Hi, I'm Tom McNamara, host of Arizona Illustrated. Thanks so much for watching this story from our show. And for more local stories from Arizona Illustrated, just click right here.